All right, guys. Our next guest is a longtime friend of the program, known for his excellent work at one of the most iconic gyms in this sport, aka, of course, the man behind such legends as Khabib Nurmagomedov, Daniel Cormier, Luke Rockhold, Cain Velasquez, and now Islam Makhachev, as Islam takes on Charles Oliveira at UFC 280 for the vacant UFC lightweight belt. None other than Coach Javier Mendez himself. Welcome back to the show. How are you, Coach?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me, you guys. Glad to be back on.
Dude, yeah, we love chatting to you. And hey, last time we spoke, we weren't quite sure what the holdup was with this Islam Charles fight. How do you feel when you saw it was finally confirmed that Islam will be fighting Charles next for the vacant belt? I mean, we're less than a month out now.
I feel pretty good about it, but I've been there before when things appear to be going in the right direction and all of a sudden it goes south for whatever reason or another. Mm-hmm. It's hard to know what happens between negotiations between managers and promotions, So, he says, she said type stuff is really irrelevant, right? It just doesn't matter. What matters is, did you get it done? Did you not get it done?
Yeah, 100%. Well, it felt like the right fight to make for so long, and I think most people kind of felt like, yeah, it's going to get done one way or another, and here we are, man. One of the most highly anticipated fights of the year, extremely massive for the division. You were saying about the he said, she said, something that keeps getting brought up by the critics and, obviously some of the other fighters, some of the other contenders is, of course, Islam's resume thus far. I want to get your thoughts on this right off the bat. Michael Chandler recently spoke about how Islam hasn't really fought anybody just yet. What would you say to those who sort of question Islam's resume and quality of opponents sort of on his way to this title shot?
Well, what I say is he's on a 10-fight win streak. Michael Chandler comes into the UFC. He has one fight, one win. He gets the title shot. So, it is what it is. The promotion decides who they want to put in there because the people want to see what they want to see. Michael Chandler is a very entertaining fighter, very charismatic, and therefore he gets a lot of opportunities that other people feel are not warranted, but they are warranted because Michael Chandler is very entertaining. Islam had to win fights. And remember one thing, he didn't choose opponents. Opponents chose not to fight him because they don't want to risk their ranking. Not that they're afraid of Islam. No fighter's afraid of Islam. If you're a real fighter, you're not afraid. But you don't want to risk the opportunity to fight someone so dangerous and not get a title shot. So there's been the holdup. But Islam's destroyed everybody he's been fighting. And guess what? It's going to happen again. And don't be shocked, when you see Islam become the lightweight UFC champion, the next one next to Khabib and for Dagestan, and so you'll see. But again, you can't go on anything of that type of stuff because there's always going to be something more or less like that. There's always going to be some obstacle you have to break through, and that's just one. Look what happened to Khabib.
Yeah.
How many times was he told, "Oh, you have a title fight," only to lure Eddie Alvarez and Conor to do the fight, right? So it's kind of like, So what's going to happen is going to happen. The bottom line is this fight's happening. It's the most anticipated fight, you said, of the year, and it could very well end up being the biggest fight of the year because it sure is stacked with all the lineup that they have on here.
I love it. And by the way, like both guys in their prime, there's so much on the line here. But also, like, what do you think it says about Islam if he is able to beat Oliveira and win this title? Because a lot of people consider Oliveira one of the best lightweights out there in quite some time.
Well, what it just says that what Khabib and I've been saying all along, Islam's the best, and that's what it's going to say. And I'm not saying if because there's no if. He's going to win. That's what I believe in my heart, and that's what we believe as a team. And we believe we're going to win, and we're going to win. And it's not like we're going to win this way. We're going to win no matter which way it's going to happen, and whether it be stand up or be on the ground. We have a game plan, but you know what? Last time we had a game plan when we fought at the Apex, and we had the idea of standing, and all of a sudden Khabib and I are walking out to the fight, and I tell Khabib, "Hey, you know what? I think our bigger advantage is on the ground. So let's go there." So we changed the game plan right then and there on the way out. We told Islam, change the plans, take them down. So that's the beauty about having someone like Islam Makhachev. You don't know what to prepare for because he can do it all.
Yeah, when was the last time you had a challenge as tough as Charles Oliveira, would you say, as a coach when preparing for a fight?
For Islam or for just
Islam and maybe even just in general.
Oh, all Habib's last 3 fights were incredible challenges. Dustin was an incredible challenge. Justin Gaethje, Conor, they were all incredible challenges. There's been quite a few. DC when he fought Stipe first, second, and third. A lot of times we've been involved in high, caliber type challenging fights. This is definitely one of them because Charles is to me, he's not the number one contender. He's the champion. I mean, technicalities say he's not, but reality is everybody knows he's the true champion right now.
Yeah, without a doubt. Do you think this one could be as dominant as some of Islam's past fights? Because, he's almost steamrolled some of his fights, right? And he's the betting favorite in this one. Do you think, but people are talking about the step up in competition. Do you think this one can be dominant as some of the recent performances? Or do you think with that step up in competition, this may change and this may be almost like a back and forth or a war?
Nah, this one's going to be a step up in competition, but not too much. And I think that if everything goes according to what we're thinking, it's not going to be a steamroll, but it's going to be a roll in our favor.
Okay. Just going back to what you said about, Khabib and how he's been saying for such a long time, praising Islam. I almost feel like, part of the hype behind Islam, aside from what he does in the cage, is the Khabib comparisons. How much Khabib has praised him for so long, and people generally see him as kind of like the next heir to the throne, the next Khabib, and it almost overshadows his actual body of work. And do you think this fight can sort of, put some of that behind him, put an end to that, and essentially just kind of justify the hype where now people are talking about Islam's body of work as opposed to, Khabib says he's the next great guy, if that makes sense?
Yes, that makes sense. And listen, this is the reason why Khabib says what he does. Okay, in all the history since 2012, since Khabib has been sparring with me in front of my eyes, there has been nobody that's ever taken a round from him. No one's ever won a sparring session, not a sparring session with Khabib ever, except one man, Islam. He's the only one that has won rounds from Khabib. Never won a session, but he's won rounds. And I've never seen that. So obviously, when Khabib talks about the next era, he's not saying something that he's trying to make up and make people believe. He knows, like I know, how good Islam is. That's why he's so confident in what he's saying. Khabib's not known to say something that he doesn't mean, and he means it. I mean it. And now it's time for Islam to go out there and shine and let everybody know what Khabib already knows, and I know that he's the best right now. He is the best, and we have to prove it, and we will prove it.
Wait, so just going back on that, Coach, so Khabib never lost a round in sparring ever, apart from Islam?
Yep.
Wow.
100%. And wow, that's why I'm trying to tell you guys, it's like you don't know what you're dealing with till you deal with him. And that's what everybody that's dealt with Islam, they thought they could do better till they get in there, and they didn't. And he is so well-rounded. I am going on record saying as the lightweight, he is hands down the number one of all time, best in all areas. Number one of all time, Islam Makhachev. Best defense, best striking, best everywhere. The best all-around athlete. Way, way back in the day, I thought it was Frank Shamrock that was the best well-around athlete, and he was in all divisions, but in the lightweight division, for me, the person that's the best rounded in every single area is Islam Makhachev.
Wow. Hey, I was going to say Khabib is actually obviously, a legend, but I also want to get your thoughts on this prediction that he made on Twitter recently where he predicted that Charles Oliveira won't make it to fight now and Beneil Dariush will end up fighting Islam at UFC 280. And I'm just wondering, for a lot of people that they were like, what does he mean? Does he really not believe that Charles is going to make weight for this one? What was your reaction when you saw that tweet? And is this something that you guys are genuinely concerned about going into the fight, that Charles won't be able to make it?
No, I don't know what Khabib's doing. Maybe Khabib is playing the mental game. I don't know. All I know is this. We're fighting for the title, whether it be Charles or whoever the UFC puts in front of him. It's going to happen with Islam, providing no injuries, which knock on wood, it won't happen. But Khabib saying that is, one thing you guys know, Khabib is fantastic at getting attention now these days. And, him saying that, it's just like everybody else. They do their little talking. Khabib does his talking too. But I expect Charles to be there. I expect, like we all do, right? The best Charles ever, motivated because he has something to prove. A lot of people are doubting him, and for all he's done to be an underdog, like you guys said, I didn't know he was an underdog. So if he's an underdog, then he's got more to prove. So I'm expecting a very highly motivated Charles to come in and participate that night. And I just don't think it's going to be good enough.
If there was any more weirdness with the scales or weight or anything, would you guys still fight Charles?
I would say so. Why not? I mean, they're all in the same situation. They're not going to be that far off. Come fight time, they're all going to be the same weight as they would have been anyways. But that's not for us. That's for the State Athletic Commission and what they do to regulate things. So that's not a decision we can make, but we're willing to fight. Yes. And then the managers have to do what the managers have to do. I'm the coach. I'm not the manager. Ali is the one that deals with things like that. And you know what? He's great at what he does. In my opinion, he's the best in the business, and he'll do whatever he needs to do to make that fight happen.
Fascinating situation as well, because obviously Beneil is one of his fighters. I want to know, are you guys at all preparing for case because he's kind of like the backup for this fight, just in case something goes wrong in the lead up, or is he somebody that's not really even on the radar right now?
The only thing that's on the radar for us, to be honest with you, is the title. And like I said before, Islam is so well-rounded. It doesn't matter. Go ahead and switch him. Put in whoever you want in there. It doesn't matter. So Islam is ready to fight 5 hard, grueling rounds, or it could be a short night, or it could be a long night. I prefer to mentally train him for a long night so he doesn't have a shortcoming and thinking all 3 rounds and it's over. I prefer hard fought 5 rounds dominance, and that's what I'm expecting from him, and that's what my mind is projecting. But who the opponent is, it's Charles now. But come fight time, it's happened before. It happened before with Khabib. What happened? All of a sudden, Alaquinta comes in last day.
Yeah.
So and just prepare to fight. You're prepared to fight, and that's the mentality that Khabib and I are instilling in Islam. Hey, you're ready to fight 5 rounds. That's it. Healthy, mentally strong, ready to go.
And before Al, it was Max Holloway. So let's just hope that this stays together. Fingers crossed, MMA gods are smiling down on us, because it is an incredible fight. And obviously, we know striking is your specialty, Javier, but for this fight, the ground is what most people are sort of excited about and also curious about. And when you look at Islam's fights, he's so good at controlling his opponents and smothering them and generally just kind of shutting down their game. With Charles, obviously, his coach has come out and said that Islam won't be able to do that, unlike in the past. And he believes that he may not even be able to take Charles down. How do you think Islam does against Charles on the ground?
Well, first of all, he's going to take him down. It's just a matter of when, but he will take him down. Charles is not going to be able to stand. If Islam doesn't want to stand, he will not. He'll be taken down. He is second to Khabib in being able to take people down, and he will go down. Charles will go down. Charles is not known to be a wrestler. And also keep in mind, Charles has got such a phenomenal jiu-jitsu game. Probably in MMA, in pure jiu-jitsu, he's probably got the best game in the lightweight division. So why would he be afraid to go to the ground? He's not. He wants to test himself there with Islam, and by all means, we're fine with that too. The bottom line is, the thing about this fight is, going to stand up? Okay, let's go. Going to the ground? Okay, let's go. So we'll see who can dominate where, and when that time comes, but we're prepared to dominate on the stand-up. We're prepared to dominate on the ground, and they are too. They're well prepared. He's a champion for a reason.
When you think about his approach to this fight, I wonder, do you believe that Charles's hope is to keep this one standing and win it on the feet, or do you think he'll dare to sort of go to the ground and try his jiu-jitsu, which has worked in the past against some of the best guys in the world, to try and win this one? Because it's a fascinating one, because it's almost like there's a couple of almost mental battles in this for Charles himself. He is known for his dangerous jiu-jitsu. So it's almost like, does he dare to go down there to see if he can do anything against Islam, or does he try and keep it on the feet in an area where maybe he believes he's got an advantage?
I think Charles is good with anything. I think Charles says he takes him down, no big deal. Stand up, okay, I got you. His attitude is, I'm going to beat him. Stand up, I'm going to beat him on the ground. Our attitude is, we're going to take you where we want to take you. We're going to beat you where we want to beat you. So he's got a great attitude. His coach has got a great attitude going into the fight, and so do we. So now it's just a matter of, the right game plan being implemented, and what coaches can get their fighter to do what, and so far, ever since we've been coaching Islam together, Khabib and I, Islam's done everything that we've asked him to do. Everything. He is one of the few fighters that I ask him to do something, he does it. Khabib asks him to do something, he does it. He's very well trained. His mind is super sharp. And like I said, he's good everywhere. So it's not hard to direct a fighter how to fight if he's easily, that's a stupid word, right? But if he can easily follow directions, and that's exactly what Islam does. He follows directions.
I wanted to, I've been waiting to ask you this question for a while, Javier. Charles's camp, known notoriously for how hard the sparring is, and basically guys, getting hurt through sparring. We see concussions, we see guys going down. A lot of their sparring is basically almost like, live rounds, like they're in a fight. But with that, a lot of their guys are very durable. And Charles has shown that he's extremely durable and comfortable when it comes to being in a firefight. We've seen that from time to time. Whenever guys think they hurt him, he comes back and he's able to stop the fight. I just wonder, though, from your perspective as a coach, I know that at AKA you guys used to have a lot of some crazy historic sparring sessions, but where do you sit on how hard you go in training, and where do you sit on the damage that you take in training going into a fight? Because we've seen fighters leave their best rounds in the gym and not in the octagon, and we've seen other fighters benefit from it. I'd love to know your perspective as a coach. Where do you sort of draw the line with that kind of thing?
Well, you draw the line where you see your body. You got to pay attention to your fighter. You got to pay attention to what he wants. Some fighters want to spar 3 times a week, and if their body's healthy, their body stands up, guess what you do? You let them go. Sometimes, okay, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. When I was here, I've been here in Dubai, but I met a very, very, very good horse trainer. And what he does, he tells me that he goes and touches a horse, and he bases his touch on the horse's muscles and how he feels. And based on that, he'll know whether to increase the horse, decrease the horse, et cetera, to prevent injuries, to get the best performance. And we as coaches have to do the same thing with our fighters. Not that fighters are horses, but we have to do the same kind of training with them. We have to pay attention to them. We have to pay attention to their body. Not that we're touching the body, but we have to look at them and see where they're at. So if they're super tired and they want to spar, it's like, no, you're not sparring. Get out of here. Go do something else. It's extremely important that we do that. Look, listen, MMA is still somewhat new, as far as, get dialed it in. Like boxing, why do we call boxing the sweet science? Because it comes down to that particular thing. Everybody knows the boxing. Now it comes down to little tiny increments of changes that make the difference whether you win a fight or not. In MMA, there's big gaps. There's still big gaps. But Islam Makhachev is the type of fighter that's closing those gaps because he's so good in every area. So it's becoming a little bit more like a boxing situation where this guy's so good that it's becoming a science. But right now it's still not, And like I said, in regards to the injury factor, in a long time ago, I used to always wonder why the hell we getting injured, why we getting injured. And so I started having talks with the guys and the team, and we worked out what some of the problems have been, and a lot of it has to do with if you didn't get a good night's sleep, if you're angry, if you don't want to spar, if you don't divulge an injury. Those are all type of things that we discuss. Those are all type of things that the fighters have been talking to me about, and we talk about all the time. Now, as a result of that, way back then when Dana called us the cavemen, aka caveman days, which to some degree he was correct, because we were like cavemen because we're still trying to understand. But even before he made that comment, I was trying to figure out why, not just my gym, I'm talking all gyms, why are people getting injured? And I figured it out, because once I did what I did, our injuries, for fighters dropped over 90%, and that's a huge number. And and I'm sharing this because other coaches that may be listening, maybe they need to do the same thing. Hold back their fighters when they see the fighter being fatigued. Hold them back, or they see the fighter get really angry and they're pissed off at somebody. Hold them back. Or let's say the fighter doesn't want to spar and you're making them. Don't make them. Don't make him. Don't force him to spar. Let him rest. Let him do what he wants to do, because that's when they're going to be more alert. That's when they're going to be more aware of their body. When you force them to do something, they're not thinking properly. They're angry at you, or they're angry at somebody, or they're too tired to react. Those are the type of things that you can do to help prevent the injuries, and that's what we've been doing, and it's been working fantastic. It doesn't work all the time, like 100% effective, but it has cut down injuries quite a bit.
Dude, yeah, well, I appreciate you sharing that knowledge with us. I think there's so many MMA coaches just locally even who are going to learn from that. So I wonder then, like, with Charles and his durability, do you see that as a strength? As in, okay, this is a guy that's hard to put away? Or do you see that in a way almost like a weakness because, hey, this is a guy that's willing to take damage in that octagon because he believes he could take it? And we've seen guys like Justin Gaethje and countless others change fight to fight to fight to the point where they can no longer really take as much damage like they used to because they rely on that so much.
I look at what Charles has as an incredible gift of a warrior. He's an incredible warrior to be able to come back the way he does. But there is a point. There is a point where how far can you continue to do this? But I still look at him as that same warrior that came back against Gaethje, the same warrior that came back against Dustin. I look at him as that guy. I don't look at him as any different. I look at him as that same guy, if not stronger now, because he has a bigger challenge. People are doubting him. He's the champ. He's beat up all these guys, and they're doubting him. That's got to motivate him. So I'm looking at him as highly motivated and ready to prove to the world why he is the true champion. And our end, we're looking to show him why Khabib and I believe Islam is the future, and he will prove that. I believe 100% he will prove that he's the new king. He's the new king.
Well, a lot on the line here for obviously both guys, but I think also Charles's legacy. And I want to get you to weigh in on something, just something a little bit fun, something that obviously people are talking about online and stuff. And Khabib obviously for a long time has undoubtedly been seen as the lightweight GOAT, right? Obviously retiring at a perfect 29-0. However, lately, with Charles' momentum, people have been bringing up Charles and his stats, and the fact that he has the most submission wins in UFC history at 10, 21 wins in the UFC compared to Khabib's 13, which funnily enough is the amount of finishes that Charles has in the UFC at 13. And now, comparable opponents and title defenses. Where do you stand on this debate of Oliveira's Khabib as sort of, the best lightweights in the UFC's history?
Well, for me, I'm sorry, I don't put Charles there at all. How many losses did he have? How many rounds has he lost? How many times has he been dropped? Tell me any one of those things that's happened to Khabib. No one's touched him. The guy that hit Khabib the best ever was Michael Johnson. Other than that, Justin Gaethje hit him with the shot, never hit him. Barboza hit him with a beautiful kick, didn't phase him at all. But where has he lost a round? Where has he not dominated? Charles just had to come from behind. How many times? How many losses does he have? So for me, I don't look at that as putting in the GOAT discussion. I don't care how many title defenses you have. You've had problems. You came back to win fights. So if you want to say gutsy, great champion, yes, but you're talking all time. For me, all time is someone that's never been touched. That's to me. And that's him. And that's what he's done. Anderson Silva at that one point was that untouchable guy. GSP was that untouchable guy. But Charles, when have you seen GSP get knocked down and come back like that? When have you seen Anderson Silva get knocked down and come back the way he did? No, you haven't. Because why? Because they don't get hit. When they're at their best, they don't get hit. That's why I think you call them the greatest, because of that very reason. What about Fedor Emelianenko? You got to include him in that category as one of the greatest. And why? Why was he that? Because Fedor wasn't being touched. But then when Fedor did get touched, what happened? Right? John Jones, same thing. You put him in that category when no one can touch him, and they haven't been touched. Well, who's the only fighter out of every one of the individuals I'm talking about that's never been touched? Never. Khabib. There's no one else. Tell me somebody else that's undefeated, dominated everybody, only lost maybe one round, 2 rounds tops in his whole career. If you find somebody that's done that and dominated the best of the best, then okay, you got my attention. But tell me who it is.
Wow, what an answer, man. Nailed it. Absolutely love the passion. Speaking of goats, when it comes to shaving your junk downstairs, shaving your schlong, and making your balls as smooth as eggshells, why not go with the goat? Why not go with the pound-for-pound best grooming tool in the world, the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0, making you the best version, the best man, the best version of yourself, and the Platinum Package 4.0, the best value deal yet with Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer itself, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, the Ultra Premium Body Wash, the Ultra Premium 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, the Ultra Premium deodorant, and the Crop Preserver Anti-Chafing Ball Deodorant, Crop Reviver ball spray toner, and free gifts including the boxes and the Shed travel bag. I'm telling you, the Crop Preservers, the anti-chafing ball deodorant, and the ball spray toner keeps you in the game. In the middle of the day, maybe you detect a certain funk that will ruin your chances, a quick spray with those bad boys, you're back in the game. Or even if you just want all the people that you're training to, appreciate your nice smell, no better way to do it. Isn't that right, Dennis?
Yeah, man, this thing is an absolute game changer. You guys will have the absolute package to change everything and be ready for whatever life throws at you. And you guys can save 20% off right now and get free shipping with a code word submission. Go to Manscaped now and change your life for the better. And guys, I want to double check with everybody out there that you guys are making the most money that you can possibly make out there right now when you're making wins of all the sporting events out there. Because right now with my bookie, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but if you use the code word submission, you guys can get 100% match bonus. Why put down $20 and just make that amount back when you guys could put down $20 and get $40 in that account? My bookie is giving you guys a chance to do that with a promo code submission. You guys can claim your deposit bonus dollar for dollar all the way up to $1,000. Right now, huge events around the corner. What about UFC 280? We're discussing it right now. Islam Makhachev minus 166, Charles Oliveira plus 131. Or what about a sneaky, cheeky bet on Sean O'Malley, who's plus 280 right now, Pyotr minus 400. So much money to be made at my bookie, Cass.
Love it, man. Let the money phone ring. Also, speaking of money, protect yours. Here in Australia, there's been a massive data breach with Optus. Over 9 million customers affected, having all their data, their precious info stolen. Naughty, naughty. This is why we've been banging on about it. NordVPN, protecting your data so that even your internet service provider cannot track your data or what sort of spicy websites you've been going on. It comes with that threat protection. One click of a button changing your geolocation so your computer will think you're in a completely different country. I've been downloading all sorts of stuff, on those free download websites. You download, it takes ages. It takes like 12 hours to download. You can only download one thing at a time. Then you're going to wait like 24 hours to download another thing. With the VPN, you can be king. You have one on your desktop app. You have one in your Chrome extension. You have one in your Firefox. You can be downloading all sorts of stuff, and best of all, protecting your data. And if you're streaming something on those, spicy streaming websites, no buffering and no speed throttling. Doesn't get any better than that, does it, Dennis?
Nah, man. Listen, it's a real problem out there. I know a lot of you guys have your credit cards and all your mobile numbers, address, name, license number, and passport number, and all that kind of stuff saved into your phone. Trust me. You don't want to go around having to change all that kind of stuff. Thanks to what's happening here in Australia. Protect yourself thanks to NordVPN. And they have an amazing deal right now. So you guys really have no excuse not to try it today. Go to nordvpn.com/submission. Get a huge discount plus 4 months free. And you guys can try it completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. They know you'll love it. So it's absolutely risk-free. Sign up today and make sure you protect your neck with NordVPN and a Submission Radio. But Javier, I know back in July, Charles spoke about Khabib and how he never talked trash when he was active, but he felt like since retirement, in his words, Khabib lately, he's been talking too much. And he said he wanted to beat Islam and then challenge Khabib to come out of retirement and fight him. I wonder, what do you think would happen if Charles called him out and that happened?
Nah, Khabib would have to ask his mom for permission, and that ain't gonna happen. So, I think that if something like that, you know what, I don't even want to talk about that because it ain't gonna happen. I like being positive, you guys. So yeah. Let's just say, mom ain't gonna give him permission.
The mom's not keen, Javier. From what you understand, she hasn't changed her mind.
No.
Doesn't want Khabib out of the house for a few months. Maybe do some stuff around the house. No.
I think Khabib is settled on what I consider on the road to being the greatest coach of all time. That's what I'm projecting for Khabib, and that's what I really feel his father's training, my help, along with what his father instilled in him, is turning him into a monster coach. And as time, you guys will see, Khabib's only 34 years old. Look where he's at. We're about to have 2 world champions, Islam Makhachev and Usman, his cousin for Bellator, 2 lightweight world champions Khabib's team's going to have, with me included, training them. It's the start of many more champions to come from Abdul Manap's gym, up in Dagestan. So, you guys will see. You guys right now, we consider Khabib the GOAT, but pretty soon you guys are going to become the GOAT of coaching too.
Yeah. Oh, we look forward to it, man. We're enjoying watching it play out. Couple more, and then we'll let you go. We'll get out of your hair, Javier. But, while we're talking about call-outs, obviously Conor McGregor, he's been wanting to return into an immediate title shot upon his return, possibly next year. What would you think about Conor slotting sort of straight in there against Islam Makhachev?
It's basically a popularity contest. It's entertainment first. So whatever the UFC wants, the UFC gets. So there you have it.
Would you have any hang-ups just because of obviously the history there with Conor and Khabib? Or was it a case where Islam would sort of relish the opportunity to fight Conor as well?
I don't know if he'd relish. I know I don't like Conor, so I don't care for him. And the reason why I don't care for him is he made those comments regarding the COVID situation. And any man that makes comments like that, I'm sorry, you're not going to get my appreciation for you, because the whole world suffered. And whether you were joking, whether you're not, you made those comments. And to me, I have zero respect for that, for anybody that would say what he did.
It's also an interesting situation because I know Alex Volkanovski as well wants to try and move up and get that title shot against Islam or Charles next. I wonder, do you have a preference over Conor or Alex next? Who do you think is the more interesting fight for you guys?
For me,
yeah,
the interesting one is Alex, because he's on a tear, and he's a great sportsman, and he's going to keep it clean. And I mean, if you're asking me what I would want, if as a sports person, okay, not as an entertainment, but if you're talking about sports, who deserves the right? 100% him, 100%. And he's a class act. He comes from a very reputable gym that's got class coaches, and you know what? They stick up for their team. I like what they represent. I like the way they stick up for each other. How they're like a band of brothers, just like my guys are a band of brothers. I respect them a very, very high, very, very high opinion of those guys. Very high.
Yeah, well, I know they must respect you guys, City Kickboxing and Freestyle MMA, so that would be a great fight. Final question from us, and we'll let you go. I know, you've had so many historic moments in the sport. There's a reason why people see you as one of the greatest coaches out there, so many world champions. When UFC 280 happens, and if everything goes to plan and Islam is able to secure this title, what will this one mean to you personally as a coach?
It's just, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's just another goal that I'm going to be super, super happy for Islam Makhachev. But then right after Islam wins, my mind switches over to Khabib's cousin Usman and Bellator. And my happiness is going to be so high for Islam because I feel he's going to win, but then it's going to be switched over to Usman. And then when Usman wins, then I'm going to switch over to Umar because Umar needs to accomplish that. And then, a dark horse that I think that I think people are don't realize that I believe has got the potential is Zubaira. I think Zubaira, with the right mindset, the right training in which he's getting now, I think he can make a threat. I think he can make a threat. And let's see if I'm right. I'm not saying 100% right, but I like Zubaira's chances. But I always think ahead. And once Islam gets his title, I'm going to be very happy. What it means to me is just happiness. I'm very happy for him. But my mind goes to Usman. That's just the way I've always been. I don't go back and, oh, look. I just go, okay, that's it. Now let's go to the next one.
Yeah, absolute beast factory down there at AK, Javier. And of course, you are the man behind it. UFC 280, Oliveira versus Makhachev. Can't wait, man. October 22nd, obviously in the States. And then it's going to be the 23rd here in Australia and New Zealand because of the time difference. Follow the man on Twitter and Instagram at AKAJAV, aka Harv. What a banger. What a banger of an interview, Javier. Love it. Thank you so much for your time, and I always love chatting with you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me, and hopefully I didn't trash anybody too bad.
Not at all. Not at all. Great answers for everything, especially the GOAT question. I was like, we'll see what Javier says. Nailed it, man. Absolutely nailed it. Thank you so much.
Dude, yeah, thank you so much. Have fun over in Dubai. All the best. Can't wait to see the fight, and all the best. Thank you so much, Javier.
Thanks, guys.